At family brunch, my nephew pointed at my bag and said, "Dad says you get fake stuff." Then he sliced the strap with a butter knife. The table erupted in laughter. That night, I canceled the $1,100 transfer that covered his private school fees for good. I can't stand my nephew. There, I said it. Eli's 9 years old, and I honestly can't think of a single time he's been enjoyable to be around. I've smiled through his tantrums. I've sat through his screaming in restaurants while his parents scroll through Instagram like nothing's happening. I've watched him insult waiters, throw food at other kids, and once I caught him spitting on a neighbor's dog and calling it ugly. And yet somehow everyone treats him like he's the second coming of Einstein. He's spirited, intellectually advanced, just too smart for other kids. What he is completely unchecked. No rules, no consequences, and for a long time, no boundaries with me either. I still paid for half of his private school tuition. I didn't offer, Ryan asked. Said it was just until he got a raise. That was almost 2 years ago. Every month, $1,100 left my account and went straight into his son's overpriced, under-disciplined education. I never got a thank you, not even a text on my birthday. Ryan and his wife, Megan, act like I owe them because I'm single. Because I have a good job, because I don't have real responsibilities like they do. And somewhere along the way, they started treating my money like it belonged to them. I used to think I was doing the right thing, helping family, giving my nephew a shot at a better life. Now I think I was just enabling them. Then came the brunch, the one that flipped the switch. It was my dad's idea. He wanted all of us together at this new brunch place downtown. The kind where the wait list is 3 weeks out and the food is stacked vertically on the plate. My parents, Ryan, Megan, Eli, and me. I wore a dress I bought for a work gala and carried a handbag I had saved up for. It was a big purchase, but I didn't regret it. I never splurged on myself. This one time I did. The moment I sat down, Eli's eyes went straight to my bag. He said it loud enough that a couple at the next table turned their heads. Dad says, "You buy fake bags to feel rich." I didn't even have time to respond before he reached across the table, grabbed a butter knife, and started sewing at the strap. I thought he was pretending at first. Then the strap gave way cleanly like he'd practiced. He held it up proud of himself while the table exploded with laughter. Ryan leaned back like this was the height of comedy. Megan giggled like she was in on the joke. My mom looked a little stunned, but still laughed. My dad tried to hide it, but he was smiling too. "Relax." Ryan said, "It's not like it's real." That was the moment something clicked, not just with Eli, but with all of them. This wasn't just about a purse, it was about respect. About how they really saw me. Not as family, but as a resource, a wallet with a face. A childless woman who owed them because she didn't have a family of her own. I finished my drink, got up, and left before the came. That night, I logged into my online banking and ended the transfer. No warning, no text, just canceled it. The next payment was due in 2 days. Let them deal with it. But I already knew Ryan wouldn't take it quietly. And when the fallout started, I wasn't going to hold back anymore. Not this time. 3 mornings passed before Ryan noticed. That's when the first text came through. I was sipping coffee at my desk, catching up on emails when my phone buzzed. "Hey, I think you forgot the transfer. Just checked and nothing came in. Can you send it today? The school already sent a notice." I didn't answer. I didn't even open it right away. I knew this would happen. I had been funding their lives so smoothly. They hadn't once checked in on the money, just assumed it would show up like magic. I left the message unread and got back to my spreadsheets. That night he followed up. "Fiona, come on. They charge $40 a day in late fees. I'm not trying to nag, but this isn't just about us. Eli's going to feel it. Can you just handle it and we'll talk?" I handled it all right. I poured a drink, turned my phone off, and went to bed early. By day 5, he was calling. 2 missed calls from Ryan, 1 from Megan, and then the cherry on top. A voicemail from my mother. "Honey, I don't want to get in the middle, but can you call your brother? He said something happened at brunch. Can we talk?" I called her that evening, expecting her to tell me I was overreacting. Instead, I told her exactly what happened. Eli's comment, the knife, the laughter, Ryan's smug face. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't embellish. I just told the truth. There was a long pause, then she said, "I didn't realize it was that bad. I'll talk to your brother." That was the first time I felt like someone had actually heard me, and it wasn't over. Saturday came and went. Total silence in the family group chat. No, look at Eli's science project. No, Megan's in Arizona with the girls. Just dead quiet until Sunday morning when my dad texted me. "Can you come over around 2 o'clock? We need to talk." I showed up on time. Ryan was already there, pacing the living room like he'd been waiting to explode. Megan was nowhere to be seen, probably still sipping cocktails in a rooftop pool somewhere, parenting from a distance. My mom sat on the couch, her expression tight. My dad stood by the window, arms crossed. Ryan didn't even say hello. You really pulled tuition over a handbag. I ignored that. I asked if he even realized how humiliating that brunch was. How his son destroyed something I paid for with zero consequences. While the entire table acted like it was some kind of comedy sketch, he didn't flinch. He said I was being dramatic. Then came the part that made me see red. You have no idea what it's like raising a kid. You've got disposable income and no family. You should want to help. I laughed once. He just slipped out. He wasn't even pretending to hide it anymore. The sense of entitlement wasn't subtle. He was spelling it out. My dad stepped in before I could reply. Sit down, Ryan. Ryan paused. My dad wasn't the type to bark orders. He didn't raise his voice. But when he spoke like that, you listened. You think we're going to let this continue? You're not parenting Eli. You're spoiling him, defending him, letting him embarrass your sister and everyone else. You think because she doesn't have kids, her money's yours. He didn't let Ryan respond. If you can't start acting like a father, I will. That boy has disrespected your sister, your mother, even me. He's 9 and he's walking around like the world owes him everything. The room went silent. My mom looked stunned. Ryan looked like he'd been slapped. I stayed quiet. There was nothing left to say. They were finally seeing what I'd known for years. Ryan didn't argue. He just sat down, eyes downcast, like he'd finally felt the weight of his actions. And still, Megan wasn't there. Because Megan was rarely there. Megan breezed back into town like nothing had happened. Tan, glowing, pulling a matching luggage set behind her like she just stepped off a reality TV set. Her Instagram was a montage of champagne flutes, poolside yoga, and rooftop dinners with friends who looked like they'd never heard the word no. Eli, meanwhile, had been spiraling all week. My mom told me he was pulled out of class twice, once for shoving a kid during group work, once for calling a staff member a servant. When the principal called Ryan, he brushed it off as stress from transitions. The excuse parents use when they don't want to admit their kids becoming a problem. Megan, she hadn't even texted. Not my mom, not Ryan, not even to check on Eli. Saturday morning, Ryan invited everyone over. He called it a reset. His exact words. We need a clean slate. That's how I knew he was unraveling. Ryan doesn't talk like that unless he's desperate to hold things together. Megan showed up late, striding into my parents' living room like it was a stage. Big hugs, bigger smiles. I missed you guys. She sat, crossed her legs, and looked around like she expected a standing ovation. Ryan perched on the arm of a chair, eyes hollow, like he hadn't slept in days. My dad didn't even acknowledge her. Then Megan said it. I just think it's toxic to hold money over a child's head. It's punishing Eli for something he doesn't understand. No apology, no accountability, not even a question about what happened. She was defending the illusion of their perfect life, not the mess they'd made. Before I could respond, my mom cut in. Are you even hearing yourself, Megan? That alone was stunning. Mom avoids conflict like it's poison. But something had broken in her. Maybe it was Eli's meltdowns. Maybe it was seeing Ryan worn down. Maybe it was guilt for laughing at brunch. Whatever it was, she didn't hold back. Sienna paid for that school. She helped raise your child. And you watched your son ruin her bag in public and said nothing. Then you jetted off like you're still 25 and childless. Who do you think you are? Megan tried to laugh it off, but no one joined her. Not this time. My dad stood up, his new thing when he's done. He looked straight at her. Megan, I've never said this before, but if you don't want to be a mother, that's your choice. But if you don't start parenting that boy, you'll find yourself far from this family. Eli stays here every weekend from now on, and will be involved in how he's raised since someone clearly has to be. Megan's jaw tightened, but she didn't argue. Maybe she knew she couldn't win. Or maybe, for once, she realized she wasn't getting a free pass. That afternoon, after everyone left, Ryan called me. No group chat, no Megan in the background, just him. He asked if I could cover one more tuition payment, just $600. Said the school gave a temporary discount while they reassessed Eli's place there. That word sounded like a warning. I didn't respond right away. He kept talking, said he knew he'd screwed up. Said Megan was trying, that things were shifting, that he was changing. He sounded exhausted, not defensive, just done. I told him I'd pay it once, never again. He didn't thank me like he used to, all smug and showy. This time he just went silent, and that silence felt real. For the first time in years, I believed him when he said he'd fix it. The next week was quiet, too quiet. No texts from Ryan, no passive-aggressive calls from Megan, no updates from my parents. They were probably regrouping, still in damage control. I figured the school incident shook them, but I didn't realize how bad it was until Thursday morning when my mom called and said one word. Suspended. She didn't elaborate at first, just waited for my reaction. I wasn't shocked, just curious. Eli had thrown his lunch tray at another kid hard enough to bruise the kid's cheek. It wasn't just a tantrum. 3 adults witnessed it. The other boy had joked about Eli's untied shoelaces. Eli fired back, mocking the kid's clothes, saying his mom probably shops at Walmart. When the boy told him to shut up, Eli dumped his tray, milk, spaghetti, the whole mess, onto the kid's head. Then in front of teachers, he said, "My mom says kids like that grow up to clean our houses." The school sent him home immediately. Ryan showed up within an hour alone. Megan didn't answer her phone. She'd flown to Chicago the night before to visit her sister. No one knew when she'd be back. Ryan didn't fight the school this time. He just nodded. They warned him. One more incident, verbal, physical, anything, and Eli was out, not suspended, expelled. But the real surprise came later that day. My phone rang. I thought it was Ryan. It wasn't. It was Eli calling from Ryan's phone. I thought it was a mistake, but he said, "Hi, it's me." I waited. He never calls me on his own, not even when I used to buy him things. This time, no one prompted him. Then he asked, "Can I stay at your house?" I thought he meant a visit, but he was trying to escape. Ryan had taken away his tablet, TV, even backyard time. No Legos, no iPad, no playdates, just books and rules. I asked why he wanted to come. He said, "Dad's acting weird. He keeps asking what I was thinking. I don't want to talk about it anymore." I said, "No." He went quiet like he hadn't expected that. Then he said something that stopped me. "I didn't mean to mess up your bag. I thought it was a joke. Everyone was laughing. I thought you were too." I didn't respond right away. I wasn't used to him sounding normal. Not charming, just aware, like he'd finally noticed the world beyond himself. He added, "I didn't know it was expensive." I told him, "You didn't need to know the price. You just needed to know it wasn't yours." That ended the call, but what came next caught me off guard. That evening, Ryan called, not for money, not to argue, just to talk. He'd taken the week off work, citing a family emergency. He wasn't even upset about it. He sounded calm, quiet, like something had clicked. He said he found Megan's notebook on the kitchen counter that morning. It had her full Chicago itinerary, brunch spots, spa appointments, museum visits, but no mention of Eli, not even a note to call him. He said he finally got what I'd been trying to tell him. Parenting isn't just getting through the day. You don't raise a kid by accident. I asked, "So what now?" He said, "I don't know, but I can't keep doing this." None of us were ready for what Megan walked into when she got back. She returned Sunday afternoon, same as always. No call, no text, just the sound of her suitcase wheels on the tile as she came through the side door. Eli was rinsing dishes in the kitchen. Ryan was chopping vegetables. I wasn't there, but my mom and Ryan told me everything. Megan walked in and said, "Is anyone going to help me unpack, or is this the new vibe?" Neither of them looked up. She asked where everyone was. Ryan said flat, "We're having dinner at my parents' tonight. You should come." She asked why. He said, "We're having a conversation about everything." She didn't like that, said she was tired, still in her airport clothes. Ryan didn't reply, just kept chopping. That night, everyone was seated when Megan arrived, late, of course, in full makeup, and an outfit that screamed she wasn't staying long. She didn't greet anyone, just pulled out a chair and said, "So what's the drama?" Ryan looked different, not angry, not defensive, just done. He said, "I'm not pretending anymore. I've been a terrible father, and we've both used Sienna like a bank and a babysitter. That ends now." Megan's expression didn't change. Ryan kept going. He laid out everything. Eli's tray incident, what he said, the school's zero-tolerance stance. One more slip and Eli was expelled. Megan asked why she was just hearing about this. Ryan said, "Because you were in Chicago taking rooftop selfies while your son was facing the school's disciplinary board." The room went silent, the kind where you can feel the air tighten. Then Megan turned to me. "This is what you've always wanted, right? To play the victim." I didn't move, I didn't speak, my mom did. "Megan, enough, you vanished, you ignored calls, you didn't ask about Eli once. And now you act like you're the one under attack." Then came the moment no one expected. Eli spoke up. "I don't think Mom likes me very much." He said it plainly, like stating the weather, like he'd just figured it out. Megan said his name sharply, like a warning, but he didn't stop. "I try to talk to you and you're always leaving. You don't come to anything. You didn't even call when I got sent home." Ryan looked like he'd been hit. My dad stood up slowly at dinner and told Megan, "You can't keep drifting in and out, hurting Eli and expecting us to stay quiet. He deserves parents who see him." He pointed at Ryan. You're finally waking up, don't stop. Megan didn't argue, she nodded, cleared dishes, and stayed. For the first time, she didn't vanish. She picked Eli up from school. Ryan texted, we're trying, really. I felt peace, not bitterness, but I knew it wasn't over. 3 weeks later, Ryan asked for $600 for Eli's school, promising it was the last time. No excuses, just honesty. I thought of Eli, the kid who admitted he messed up, who was learning to be better. I sent the money, no reply. Ryan texted, we'll never ask again, thank you even when we didn't deserve it. I felt still, like the chaos had stopped. At a family barbecue, Eli ran up, mentioned the purse he cut, and said, someday I'll buy you a real one. I believed him. I wasn't angry anymore. I had respect, distance, peace. 2 months later, no more money requests. I lived my life, booked a solo trip to Seattle, no guilt. Ryan and Megan stepped up. Eli stayed in school, started therapy, wrote an apology letter he hadn't sent. Then a small package arrived. A cheap red keychain from Eli marked, even if it's fake, it's yours, I'm sorry. I clipped it to my spare keys. It was his awkward, honest accountability. Megan showed up for Eli's school events, parent conferences. Ryan paid bills, joined a payment plan. I kept my boundaries, visited when I wanted, left when I was done. My parents stopped smoothing things over. Eli laughed more, grew into someone who might become a good man. The story didn't end with a big apology, but with quieter dinners, steady payments, a keychain, and peace. That was enough.